Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Thanksgiving and Black Friday, the 23rd and 24th of November, 2023. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully, you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family and your friends, your pets, or if you're spending it by yourself. Hopefully, you have a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. So, yeah, this is, of course, a day where we give thanks and we appreciate those in our life through fellowship and with food and football, if you're into that sort of thing. And, of course, you have Black Friday following afterwards. And, yeah, um, we'll see how all that goes. I'm not sure how Black Friday is really going to feel this year, since we all are kind of feeling a bit of that financial crunch. Um, Economy hasn't been doing the best and stuff, but at the very least, this is a time where we come together and we appreciate those people and those things that we have in our life and give thanks for those. So I'm making this ahead of time because I am flying out at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Thanksgiving morning. I will be heading to Washington State, where I will be there until next Monday, and we'll be flying back to we'll be flying back home at like 11:45 p.m. Monday night, West Coast time. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make these videos now. I'm putting Thursday and Fridays together, and then the weekend will probably be the same thing. I'll put them together as well. And when I do that one, since I'm gonna be over there, I'm not gonna my computer or anything like that. I'm probably just gonna like film it from my phone and stuff. But anyways, I still wanted to talk about, of course, what we have going on because we have some shifting energies, of course, this Thanksgiving. I just want you guys to be prepared for what's coming. So as you can see, we are now in Sagittarius season. So happy birthday to all of these Swagatariuses out there, right? And the sun is going to move to that first degree of Sagittarius today, as you can see. And we do, of course, have Mars trailing behind the sun now, as far as like in the degrees, sort of, but it actually is going to rise with the sun, which is kind of interesting too. So it's like, even if you look back, you know, it's interesting. It's like one point in the day where essentially the sun will be in the first house and Mars will end up being in the 12th house and stuff. So, but now, we're going to see that when the sun rises, you're going to see Mars there. Although, like I said, I don't know if Mars will actually be visible. I have to go out there and look myself to see actually if it will be visible. But I think, honestly, they're too close together to where you probably won't see Mars. But in any event, you're going to see the sun click to 1 degree, and then we're going to see Mars here at 29 degrees of Scorpio, finishing up its transit through Scorpio, and it's getting ready to move into Sag, where while it is another fire sign, it is mutable fire, and Mars will be coming into a square with Saturn. So, yeah. I've been talking about these squares to Saturn and how important these are because it's going to set the tone really for the Sagittarius season. Because, like I said, we're going to get this immediate challenge, and then we'll get like this little bit of a reprieve for about 3 weeks, and then we get the square to Neptune. What's interesting about that square to Neptune is that Neptune is going to be the next planet that comes direct. And that's probably I want to say that does happen before the sun squares it. Yeah, it'll happen before the sun squares it. So that'll be on December 6th, actually, it looks like. So December 5th going into the 6th, that's when Neptune is going to station direct, with the moon in opposition to it, which is freaking hilarious. And then, like I said, that's going to be about, a little over halfway between the midpoint of Saturn and Neptune is when that Neptune, the sun will be squaring, just about the midpoint of Saturn and Neptune. It'll be a little bit past that midpoint, but it's going to be squaring that midpoint. So a little bit over halfway through this aspect right here is when Neptune is going to click online. But in any event, like I said, let me move this back, move that to hours. So, like I said, you're going to see that sun reach that first degree. Mars is here at 29, and We're going to see, of course, that moon is in Aries today for this Thanksgiving, which is going to make things pretty spicy, right? The moon in Aries is definitely going to make people a little bit more impulsive emotionally, and being that it's going to be conjunct Chiron here, and of course, Aries in the North Node here, this may be a rather dramatic Thanksgiving, especially with a Mars at the end of Scorpio, going through that investigator mode, and it's at the edge too of Scorpio. So people might be trying to seek the most edge that they possibly can here. And we got to remember that Mars is already starting to square Saturn at this point. It's not exact, but it's already starting to square that energy. So you have one of those rare moments where you have planets that are in square to each other in the same element. So mutable water with Saturn and fixed water with Scorpio. And with the moon, that's going to be on top of Chiron on this day, moving into an opposition with Venus. I'm just saying, just be prepared for potential projections. Just be prepared for emotions to maybe run a little heated. Just be prepared with that Mars at the end of Scorpio when it comes to like these deeper emotions and the things that we're uncovering in our life, and the things that maybe we might even keep hidden too from the world. These things are going to start to make themselves known, especially with a sun that is now fully into Sagittarius. It's clicked into that first degree. People are going to be definitely talking about their opinions and what they think about certain things in life, whether it's on the larger scale, like socio-political stuff, or even in your personal life. They may provide their 2 cents on whatever it is that you got going on and stuff like that. And they may not necessarily, this is from an outside looking in, so they're not living your life. They don't necessarily have your experience and necessarily know exactly what you're going through, but they're going to want to provide their feedback. And with the moon top of Chiron, this is where people can overly identify, especially from an emotional standpoint, their wounding when it comes to that Chiron energy. And especially considering that the degree this is happening at with 15 degrees, that's a very Venusian degree. So it's going to come down to be relatable. And some of you guys may feel like you're not going to be able to relate to your family and your friends and stuff because maybe you're weird and you're into astrology and they don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And they may call you a witch or whatever, insert whatever thing here. And you have to find that strength within yourself to still remain solid in whatever it is that you're doing, especially if it keeps you within that vibrational integrity, right? So that's the weird thing about this. There's no energy in Gemini. Mercury is in Sagittarius too, out of bounds. So this is not going. People aren't going to really be on the hush hush this Thanksgiving. People are going to be like spouting this here, that there, this here, and that there. So just be prepared for you're just like sitting there eating your food, and then suddenly Uncle is like, so yeah, just starts saying some off the wall crazy shit, and someone spits their food out, and then like his wife is like, "Oh my gosh, why are you saying that?" And then it's just going to, yeah, this is Mercury and Sag, so it could be very blunt kind of energy too, and it could be the truth, but at the same time, it's not going to be very polished either too. So it's like just be prepared for those things to potentially happen. Being that it's a holiday too, we probably won't see a lot in the ways of like larger news stories and stuff, but we may start to see some things start to trickle in Friday, Saturday, and so forth, right? You may start to see those things trickle in. We have, of course, that moon is going to oppose Venus also on Thanksgiving. So this is 5:52 p.m. So most people are probably going to be eating around this time, doing their good thing, having the good food and everything like that. And, we're going to see this Mars getting closer and closer to Sag. It's not going to quite ingress into Sag on Thursday. It's very, very close. We're going to see that moon reach the 20th degree, and it's actually going to make a trine over to Mercury, which is also at 20 degrees. So we do get a bit of a harmonious energy right there with that moon in Aries and the Mercury in Sag. This can, you might find yourself with something like this, maybe having a conversation with someone that you feel like you maybe wasn't able to relate to at one point, especially from like an emotional standpoint. But this can actually help you to relate to somebody in your family or friend group that maybe blah. You may find out that you guys have very similar beliefs and you didn't really realize it. Maybe different aspects of their character and stuff like that are going to kind of shine through with that moon being in Aries. But like I said, the trine to Mercury, like I said, it may come out of bounds. So you may have a conversation with like a cousin or an uncle or an aunt that you would have never expected, but it actually provides a bit of harmony here. Maybe after everyone outs you as a witch at the dinner table or whatever like that, you come to find out that maybe one of your aunts pulls you over and shows you her tarot cards or something like that and actually kind of vouches for you. And maybe she didn't necessarily, maybe they don't necessarily have, maybe they didn't have like the courage to really stand up and say anything during the heat of everything. But come by the end of the day, you may end up having that conversation with somebody where you realize that you're a lot more alike than you realize and what was let on earlier in the day. Right now, of course, that Mercury is also going to be in quincunx to Uranus, which of course is going to shake things up. So I think that's the awkward thing about this conversation that could come up. It's awkward because the Uranus, which is it's about these groups of people, being that's in Taurus as well. So you might end up finding yourself, like I said, maybe you vibe with someone else in your family and you guys are a bit weird, but it's awkward because then it's like, well, now that you have this revelation and this energy, especially with the Mars at the end of Scorpio, which is definitely going to be revealing some things, it's going to be like, okay, well, where do I take it from here? Do we continue to talk about this? Or are we just going to talk about it in private? Are we going to just like talk about it with our families and stuff like that? Or are we just going to keep it to ourselves and make it our little secret? That's the thing about this. So it's going to make things a little bit more, on the emotional side, but you may find yourself connecting with someone emotionally. It's just going to be a bit awkward because it's going to come out of left field and it's going to be like way, way out there. Like you weren't even expecting this individual to vibe with you in that way, right? So that's the thing about this. You're going to, of course, be going into Black Friday, and we're going to see that moon. Well, you're going to see pretty much overnight, right? You're going to see Mars click into Sagittarius. This is going to be about 5:52 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so most of y'all be asleep. Some of y'all might be awake, maybe for like Black Friday stuff. If it starts that early, I don't know if it will. This is happening at the time where the moon is on Aries and on the north node opposed to south node. So I would probably caution against doing any really early morning Black Friday shopping just because Mars is literally shifting into a new sign and you have the moon with Eris, which is the asteroid of discord, and the north node opposing the south node. Probably not the best idea to do early Black Friday shopping. You might want to wait till it's a little bit later in the morning, and you might be like, well, I want to make sure I get that one thing and I want to make sure that no one else gets it. I'm like, you probably will. Honestly, you know what I mean? Black Friday is essentially like the entire month at this point. It used to just be one day, but it's pretty much the entire month. It's going to be the whole weekend and stuff. So I think the other thing that we have to remind ourselves of is that this moon is going to come into Taurus. I think it's amazing that the moon comes into Taurus on Black Friday because, it's really going to come down to like, can we really appreciate the things that we already do have in our life? We're going to see that moon when it comes into Taurus. It's going to sextile Saturn, which Saturn is in square to Mars now. So we had the Sun square Saturn. Now we have the Mars square Saturn, right? This Mars in Sagittarius, after being in Scorpio and kind of going through that, now when it goes into Sag, it's going to want to feel more free because when Mars is in Scorpio, it definitely had a lot of power. But now when Mars goes into Sagittarius, it wants to take more free, like it wants to feel more free and take more freedom seeking action, if you will. But as soon as it comes into Sag, it's square Saturn. So it's like Mars is getting ready to go on the adventure, and then Saturn gives Mars his marching orders. And Saturn's like, fuck, man, I just want to go on the adventure and slay the dragon and save the girl and stuff like that, even though he's way ahead of his girl. But he wants to save the girl and stuff like that. And immediately when Mars comes in, Saturn's like, nah, wait, you might want to check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know what I'm saying? So like, does this dream have integrity? Do we have a plan for this thing? You can't just go out here willy-nilly. Are you just going to be floating in the ocean? Do you have some direction with this? Or are you just going to be aimlessly pointing your arrow and then just shooting whatever and then going for that thing? You got to have some sort of plan here. So it's like Mars comes into Sag. And of course, this is going to be a time where people are going to want to take some inspired action, especially coming out of Scorpio, especially with that deeply transformative Scorpio season that we've had. And now all that's left in Scorpio is Pallas Athena and Ceres. Venus will be coming into Scorpio. Remember, Venus doesn't like to be in Scorpio. So it's like the Scorpio season was a very fast transformation. Then these energies move into Sagittarius, and we're going to want to take some sort of inspired action and start making the plans for 2024. But we get these immediate checks. Sun square Saturn, Mars square Saturn. So it's like our spirit, our vitality is already squared Saturn. Then it's going to be action, and in many ways, like our ego and the way that we kind of project ourselves out into the world, Mars immediately squares Saturn, right? This is going to happen when the moon is in Taurus at 0 degrees, which is going to want to have us get grounded more emotionally. And since Taurus is about the physical earth, right? Interesting that happens on Black Friday where everyone is going out and buying things, more than likely things that they don't really need, but things that they want. So there's a sextile to Saturn, which is sort of like it allows us an opportunity maybe to invest in the things that are going to continue to propel us forward on the spiritual journey. But ultimately, I think this is going to give us the opportunity to really see the things that we already have in our life. And that maybe we don't need to buy that TV or that extra thing or whatever, unless unless you have disposable income. But I don't know too many people that really have disposable income right now, So I think that's the thing about this. That's the awkward stare to Mars, because it's going to be like, we're going to want to feel the good stuff, especially with the Venus and Libra and a moon at home in Taurus. We're going to want to just feel good, right? But, we have to still ask ourselves, is this in alignment? Is this just a short dopamine hit that I'm going for? Or am I going to establish some long-term success here and some long-term happiness with this, some serotonin, if you will? That's really what we have to ask ourselves on this Black Friday as it squares over. It's not squares over to Mars. Mars and Saturn square, but the moon is going to sextile Saturn and quincunx staring awkwardly over at Mars. So think about that. It's like, we're going to want to feel the Taurus energy. We're going to be feeling full from the day before. Taurus, they're the foodies of the zodiac. So we're going to be feeling full from the day before. Then we're going to feel like we want to maybe surround ourselves with some items and some different things and stuff to make ourselves feel good, to kind of continue off of that trend. And the sextile Saturn, so it's going to be like, oh yeah, well, this is nice. Maybe this will kind of contribute to the dream and stuff like that. But then this awkwardly straying to Mars, where it's like, oh shit, I just got these orders from Saturn. And like this hard check was like, do you really need that thing? Do you really believe that you need that thing? Do you believe that your value comes from having that thing? Or is that value already within you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not saying to absolutely not buy anything. I'm just saying that this is a Black Friday where you don't really want to be frivolous. And if you don't really have a lot of disposable income, it's probably not a good idea to really buy too much. I think this is a time to fill up on the things that we already have in our life, because money doesn't buy happiness. Now, money can definitely make things easier. I think I much rather have a job where I'm making 50K compared to a job where I'm making 20K. But, it's about how we manage our finances, is how we, or we go about it in a smart way. You know what I'm saying? Not just blowing things. So that's going to be the weird energy about this Friday. We're going to want to feel good. We're going to want those dopamine hits. And we're going to be feeling full from the day before. And then it's like, okay, now that you're full, right? Now that you're full from food, from conversations, from the love or whatever, right? then it's going to be like, all right, now you're really getting ready to climb this mountain. Mars is really getting ready to climb this mountain. And we got to remember, Mars at one point was leading the pack. Mars was leading the pack, but Mercury has surpassed Mars, and the Sun has surpassed Mars now. So Mars is no longer leading the pack. So that's the interesting thing about this. Our minds is the one that's leading the pack, heading towards Pluto and Capricorn. And our minds are out of bounds, and Mercury is going to retrograde in Capricorn. So Mercury will be surpassed by the Sun, and it will be surpassed by Mars. So that's the thing about this. If we're trying to think our way into the future and think our way to success, it's not really going to help us. I think it's a good idea. I think the Mercury and Sag will allow us to really engage with our imagination in many ways. But then taking that imagination and actually physically manifesting it is a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. So come the end of the day, we're going to see, that moon is going to hit around 4 degrees or so, getting ready to conjunct Jupiter, which should be more of an overnight going into Saturday kind of aspects. Mars squaring Saturn still hasn't come to its full apex. That'll also be Saturday, but you're going to be feeling it throughout the next few days. All right. So I think really what this Thanksgiving, like the themes I'm seeing are, people probably spreading their opinions on different things. Maybe they don't have like full information on them. People probably projecting their beliefs on other people. And I don't think this is coming from any malicious place, but it could come from a place where it's sort of as a matter of factly, or they're going to maybe, it can come across as people saying that they care about you and stuff. But you just want to make sure that you're not like hostily reacting to these things. And not just overly identifying with your wounding too with the Chiron, but also just embrace your unique superpowers. But don't like overly identify with that shit either, because that's just going to give people power. You want to realize that we all have our own journeys, and we all have different stories that we are telling ourselves, and we all have different stories that we choose to engage with. That's what this whole Sagittarius season is going to be teaching us. Like, what are the stories that you tell yourself? What are the stories that you act upon? What are the stories that you program yourself with? Because I don't care who you are, everyone programs themselves with different stories and different narratives. And to ask yourself, are these things in vibrational and spiritual integrity? That's the whole squaring to Pisces energy. And we're going to start to see things, especially now that we get into the holiday season. You're going to probably see, I'm going to make the prediction too. Like I said, the holidays aren't really going to feel like the holidays, but a lot of people talk about the commercialization of a lot of these holidays, especially Christmas. You're probably going to see a lot of Christians hone in on that, especially. It was at one point, it was like a lot of people that weren't really religious that would talk about the overly commercialization of Christmas and how it's all about gifts and there's nothing about really like the spirit of the holiday. Be prepared to see Christians take that stance this Christmas. You're going to see a lot more Christians take that stance and even get upset about the overly commercialization of it, but they're probably going to take it a little too far and want to like implement some weird shit from like the 1800s or something like that. So like thinking that they have to go all the way back to before it became too commercialized. I think we really should focus on just the family aspect and the togetherness aspect and appreciating those people, and not really focus so much on the gift aspect. And the gift aspect we're not going to really be able to focus on, because Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius, and Taurus, which is physical earth and actual physical things, is going to be retrograde through this entire season. So it's not going to feel like jolly like that. Not really. So this is a time where you want to just appreciate the people in your life and the things that you already do have in your life, the gifts that you have, the gifts that is already provided to you, the gift of the breath of life, the gift of your heart. Like, you don't have to tell your heart to keep, beating. It does it without us thinking about it and stuff like that. So there's so many things that we have to be grateful for, so many gifts that we already have. And this holiday season is going to be reminding us of that. You're going to see some people that, like I said, they're going to be like, the holidays are overly commercialized and we need to get back to this, and that. And like, I think some of that's going to be good, but I do think some people are going to take it a little bit too far right? And then you're also going to see the other extreme where people that have money like that or stuff like that are going to be like overly opulent and overly like over the board and shit like that, and almost like borderline wasteful and shit about it. And then that's going to probably stoke some jealousy in people and other sort of stuff too. Like just be on the lookout for all of that, because these are just sort of the energies that are going to be prevalent, and people are going to be susceptible to these energies. So, like I said, I think this is just a time to be grateful and appreciate the things that you do have, because we are all, especially if you're watching this video, like we all have so much to be grateful for, and that's not to say that we just turn a blind eye to any of the challenges or hardships that we may face in life and stuff, but it's about just the fact that I can even go in a grocery store and just pick up eggs right now. Like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? That's a blessing. The fact that go, I can just like go do that or get like clean drinking water. Like, that's a blessing. That was something that wasn't as common, like, like maybe even 100 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get water, but like it's just like how readily available things are. We just take it for granted and stuff like that. So that's really what's the most important thing throughout all of this. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the cards, shall we? Trace, I was able to get 2 days in the span of 26 minutes. So I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you guys. I really do. I know sometimes I can go fast, and sometimes I just wonder if I'm explaining things to the best of my ability. But I do notice that as I continue to do these daily and stuff, that I start to see different things and stuff like that. And I think it does help me to kind of keep me on my toes and stuff like that, and just strengthening, this tool, if you will, or my ability to use this tool, because it is a language. Astrology is a language, and like any language, like you have to keep using it and kind of immersing yourself in it to really understand it and stuff. And I think I will eventually do like some crash courses or like make like some astrology guides for some of like the basic terms, like what's a square, what's a sextile, what does it mean for something to be out of bounds and stuff. Yeah, what does it mean to have Jupiter in the third house? You know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of great different resources too. So I'm going to start kind of going more in on that, sharing some of the resources that I have used that way you guys can go and check these things out for yourself. And yeah, you can learn this language more and then know how to better navigate these energies, right? So, all right, let's see what we have for the cards for this Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Let's see what we got. First card I have is the Five of Pentacles in reverse. There is no need to feel like you're on the outside looking in, because you have enough. You have everything right here. Even if you are homeless. If you're homeless, all across the nation, there are these food drives and these food kitchens that are open up where people volunteer their time and they cook for the homeless. So even the homeless will be eating good on this Thanksgiving. But it's like you have to choose to go to these places. You have to choose to want to, participate in that. But the Five of Pentacles in reverse, no one is left out. Everyone's going to get a bite to eat. No one is left off the table. Even if you're relegated to the kiddie table. I know some of y'all kids want to come to the grown-up table. So even if you get relegated to the kiddie table, you still are a part of something. The Five of Pentacles in reverse is saying that there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to feel like you lack. Some of you guys are going to be feeling like you have FOMO, like the fear of missing out. This is especially applicable for that Black Friday too. The fear of missing out. Oh, I want to make sure I get that thing or that thing. So it'll be there. It'll be there. Yeah, you may save a little bit of money getting it on that day, or they may raise the price and then lower it to, it's like, say that an item is like normally $50, and then on Black Friday, it's like, get this product for like 30% off, but then they raise the price to like 65. So you're not really saving that much money and shit. So weird tactics like that can happen too. So just be prepared for that kind of stuff. All right. So we also have the Nine of Swords in reverse. The Nine of Swords in reverse. Yeah, this is, you know, there's no need to be afraid and to be hesitant. You know what I'm saying? So, like, some of you guys, especially with that moon going into Aries, especially with it coming on top of Chiron, some of you guys are going to be really wanting to express yourself and express, who you are, how you've evolved and changed over the last year, 2, 3, 4, however long since you've seen these people. Some of you guys are going to be seeing people that you haven't seen since before the pandemic. Like, that's going to be actually happening with me and my wife. We haven't seen her brother in like 4 years. So that's going to be a huge change. That's going to be a huge shift. She's changed a lot since we've seen him. I have. He's changed a lot. He has 2 kids now. You know what I mean? So things have changed. So it's like, that's going to be the interesting thing about this. So this Thanksgiving for a lot of people is going to be an opportunity for you to catch up with people, to kind of touch base, see how everyone's going and stuff. Because I feel like this is probably one of the first Thanksgivings where people aren't as afraid to get together. You know what I'm saying? But things have changed. Things have shifted. Just to be blunt, a lot of people have passed. You know what I mean? So it's going to be weird. There's going to be a lot of nostalgia around this Thanksgiving. People talking about, like, family members that might have passed on over the last 3 years, and it's going to be an interesting one. It really is. So it's like, that's why I think it's super important to just be grateful for the people in your life, to be grateful for the things that you have. You don't have to feel like you're left out with that 5 of Pentacles. There's no need for you to be afraid to move forward with that 9 of Swords in reverse. We have that followed by the Page of Pentacles in reverse. So, like I said, this is about acknowledging what's already within us, the value that we already carry with us innately. And it's not something that is external. It's something that is inside every single one of us. And while it does take some courage and some trust to really lean into that and to really embrace that, upon doing so, that's when we find the magic happening. I'm going to cut the deck. We had the 8 of Cups also in reverse. So, yeah, there's this, like I said, there's this element here where it may feel a little bit somber, but I think it's sort of like the things that we may feel somber about or whatever have already happened and have already passed. So it's about sort of like reminiscing on those different things. But I think we can reminisce on the past and what's happened and still look at things in a positive light and just know that there are better things to come. And yeah, there's definitely going to be some challenging energies. 2024 is going to be a bit of a challenge, but ultimately all of these things being revealed to us, all of this change, it may feel uncomfortable at first, it's transformation, but ultimately it's going to lead us to the path of righteousness. It's going to lead us to this path where we feel a lot more uplifted in our vibration. It's just we're going through the growing pains, to put it bluntly. We are going through the growing pains, and it's okay to experience the growing pains of life, especially right now. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast for this Thanksgiving and Black Friday of 2023. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you can receive all the notifications I put on this channel and the daily astrology content I make, plus the other random forms of content that I put out on the channel. You guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm super grateful for every single one of you that likes and comments and shares right now. I don't say that enough, but to those of you that already do that and stuff, I am so grateful for you guys. Some of you guys have been sticking with me for a while, even when I had like my hiatuses and stuff. Now that I'm back full-fledged into this and very, very active, I just thank you guys seriously from the bottom of my heart that you guys continue to stick by and watch my goofy ass talk about astrology for 30 minutes a day. Like, it's cool that I'm even able that I get to do this and stuff. And while I may not be doing it, I guess, per se full time and stuff, I'm just glad to just be able to put this content out there and you guys engage with it. So super, super grateful for you guys. I love y'all so much. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful next couple of days. And I'll see you guys on the next astrology forecast. Peace.